Hi, I'm Malachi. I'm the pastor and founder of Life's Word Ministry, and this is Today's Man Podcast. Today's Man Podcast was created and designed not only with the men in mind, but for both men and women alike. It's a show that will educate, encourage, enlighten, and to edify your life from a biblical and spiritual perspective. You know, it's my endeavor while we're together to share and talk about today's issues, problems, and yes, the successes of today's man through a biblical principle. I do hope that you will subscribe, like, and share our podcast episodes with others because by doing so, it boosts our on-air ratings. And with that, here's today's podcast. Hello and welcome to the show. I'm your host, Pastor Malachi. Today, I want to talk about something that affects all of us, both men and women alike. Yes, this is Today's Man's Podcast, but I want to address something that affects every man and woman: values. How do they define who you are? There's two questions you need to ask yourself. Number one, do I know what my values are? And number two, how do people view my values? It's a fact that if people come to you and they're comfortable being able to come to you with gossip, unlawful acts, cheating and dishonesty, lying, that those people really do not respect you or your values. Your values should be so respected that people will think twice about coming to you with anything that is dishonest or corrupt. That's how strong your values should be, that people will even tell other people, don't go to him or don't go to her. They are not like that. They do not listen to gossip. They don't talk about anybody, the goody two shoes. They don't gossip, none of that. That's when you know that people really respect you and your values. Think about it. How comfortable is it that people can come to you with anything that's negative? Are they comfortable coming to you first? You need to check that. Values. What are values? Values are a person's principles or standards of behavior. It's your judgment of what is important in life, in your life, and in others' lives. Many claim today to know and understand their own values, but I tend to believe that you don't really know your values until you have, number one, articulated them clearly in writing, and secondly, tested them through daily decision making. Because much like ministry business core values, your personal core values are there to guide your behavior and your choice. Get them right and you'll be efficient and focused in your decision making with a clear direction. And get them wrong or leave them ambiguous, and you'll constantly wonder, how did I get into this mess? I've asked myself many times in my life, how the heck did I get myself into this mess? But you know, although your personal core values may not exactly match anyone else's, and you know, that's okay. They shouldn't. They still help you determine your surrounding culture, those that you surround yourself with, your neighborhood, your home, your neighbors, the people that you hang out with. Most people that are intelligent, and I definitely consider all of you intelligent because you're listening to me today or tonight. But consciously or unconsciously, you use personal core values to select friendship, relationships, and business partnerships. Your core values also help you wisely manage your personal resources such as your time and your money. Simply put, you should use your personal core values as decision guidelines that keep you true to yourself and will help you out of many, many difficult situations. Values. How do they define who you are? Do you know what your values are? How do other people view your values? Let me give you 6 brief descriptions of a few of my values. The first value is honesty. In today's society, so many people in life are skilled liars. Look at the White House. skilled liars. That has never been one of my skills, lying. Never has been one of my skills. Didn't like lying. Even though I have lied in my time, I did not like it. It just wasn't me. It wasn't a part of who I was. And there are people that can lie so creatively, so beautifully that they believe their own lies. And there are people in business and in ministry that you just cannot trust because of their character and their values. That's really sad when you cannot trust people in ministry because of their character and their values. This is why I try my best to be honest with everyone. Chris Cuomo from CNN has a show called Primetime, and he brings different guests on there, and he be jacking them. I mean, he really gives it to them as far as the hard questions. But he tells all of his guests on his show when asking those tough questions, just tell the truth. That's a great motto to have. Just tell the truth. And you know, just as sure as the sun will shine, many of his guests sitting on his show will flat out lie. That is crazy to me. But you know, in my case, I tend to function better when people are respectfully direct and honest with me, because I have had to learn over my life to make it clear in conversation and in my writings that truth is necessary in my world. No matter how painful it is, I've had to learn from not only what hurts me, but what has hurt me. As men, you know this very well. Some of you, most of you, many of you, if not all of you, we do not spend a lot of time sharing our pain with others. And to be honest about our past and our past hurts is something we just did not learn as children. We didn't sit around learning how to share our hurts and our pains. Many of you had fathers that when you fell down, they would tell you to get up. And if you cried, God forbid, stop crying. Stop crying like a little girl. Get up. You be a man. How you going to be a man when you a child? You a 3-year-old. You fall down and cry. Cry, baby, cry. It's okay. My father taught us it's okay to cry. Real men cry. Second value is integrity. One thing I strive for in my life is to have as strong of integrity as my father, Bishop Henry Mitchell, because he is a man of pure integrity, a man that stands on his values as a man, as a husband, as a father, in his ministry, even in business leadership. He stands on his values. There are so many other values that I could name, but there is one trait that cannot be challenged, and that is his integrity. This is one area that I have had to basically correctly cultivate in my own life. And I'm so thankful that God is helping me with this particular value, because I want to treat people as I want to be treated. I want to love people as I want to be loved. And I definitely want to respect people as I want to be respected. So wherever I go and wherever I am, it is my integrity that leaves an impression on people. The third value is attentive. If anything, I am one that is attentive to order. And believe it or not, I'm kind of a neat freak. There is screaming inside of my head when things are not put back from whence it came. If you use it, put it away. If you ask my wife, she'll tell you that I just cannot stand things like the sound of teeth biting silverware, unmade beds, unwashed dishes, dirty clothes all over the floor. It's funny when I think about it, because I have to say that I've turned into my parents. And many of you listening, you have talked to your children just like your parents talk to you. You grew up, I'll never treat my kids like my parents treated me. And sure enough, the very first time your child did something wrong, you opened your mouth and your parents came out. I even try to make sure that my statements are substantiated. This is why I rarely speak in absolutes without doing my homework, because it's so frustrating to hear people talk in absolutes when they do not have all the facts in order to make such unsubstantiated statements. It's like their mouth speak before their brain gives them permission to talk. Now, my wife always says that I don't miss too much, and I see a lot and I hear everything. I'm a light sleeper most of the time, and I hear things, and I'm very attentive to my surroundings. So I tend to believe that in life, you have to be very, very attentive to what is going on around you, no matter where you are. The fourth value is consistency. Since people pay attention to my writings and my posts, and some pay attention to my sermons when I'm preaching at my father's church every third Sunday, and the videos that I make, credibility is crucial. And as a man of God, I have a lot to live up to. Hypocrisy is an assassin in my world. And this core value reminds me to integrate a consistency into all of my messages and lessons and into my life every single day. I try to be consistent in all that I do. There's nothing worse than an inconsistent leader, or being in a relationship where there is more inconsistency than consistency. In the home, it is vital. Children need their parents to be consistent in their parenting. Husbands and wives need to have a high level of consistency in their relationships. Leaders need to have a persistent level of consistency with their members. Most of the times you will find that people don't follow you because you're such an awesome person. No, they follow you because, one, they trust you, and two, you're consistent in your leadership, and three, they follow you because they love the first two. The fifth value is creativity. Being creative, many people will not understand you. They don't understand your flow. They don't understand your gift. They don't understand your talents. There are many times in my life when I have to remind myself that I need to take extra steps to make my messages compelling so I can intrigue and captivate and entertain and connect with my audience. So I'm very theatrical, and I over-pronunciate my words, or I'll bring humor. Because I've been in acting and modeling for over 10 years, so it's just something that I was trained to do. I truly believe that you have to be creative in your ministry, in your business, and even in your relationship. Change things up from time to time. Do something different. Go somewhere new. Try a new thing sometime. Bring a little spice into your life. Creativity should be fun and innovative, not mundane and boring. So I try to be very creative in my life and in my relationship. So when it comes to eating, I try to be open to my wife when she wants to try new restaurants. The last value is impact. Like most of those that are entrepreneurs, I'm an entrepreneur, and I've been an entrepreneur for many, many years. I try to see potential everywhere I go, which is not always easy because of whom I might be around. I have learned over time that just because you hold a position does not mean that you have potential. And your faking will only last for so long. Making an impact in life should be everyone's value to achieve. Because this value reminds me when my brain is saying I can't do that, and instead ask the question, should I do that? Or better yet, why can't I do that? When I think about making an impact, I think about how should every new opportunity be evaluated. The criteria in this area is simple. Maximize results for minimum effort. You have to maximize the results and minimize the efforts. This is very effective in evaluating new opportunities. How do you address and approach opportunities? Let me give you 13 key values that I found by Dr. Myles Munroe. 13 key values. You might have to come back later and listen to these in order to get them, but I'm going to just run right through them because of time's sake. I don't want to spend a lot of time on these. So, number one, values are better than rules. What are rules? A prescribed guide for one's conduct and or action. That's what rules are. Number 2, values are more than rules. Values are more than rules. And what do I mean by that? Because how many have you said this or you've heard this growing up? As long as you living under my roof or living under our roof, you'll follow our rules. Values are more than rules. Number 3, values send a message. What type of message are your values sending? Number 4, values must be identified. Have you identified your values? Have you clearly written them down? And number 5 is values must be accepted. Are people accepting your values? Do you even accept your values? Number 6, values must be believed. Do you believe your values? Does anyone else believe your values? Number 7, values shape a ministry or organization. They will shape your ministry. They will shape your business. They will shape your culture. They will shape your organization. Number 8, values are personal, but never private. Your values are personal, but they never should be private. Number 9, values become a culture. They become who you are. All right, number 10, values must be shared. How often have you shared your values? Do you share your values? Number 11, values attract like values. That's a serious one. Values attract like values. If you have poor values, you're going to attract poor values. If you have strong spiritual values, you're going to attract strong spiritual values. Number 12, values become the social norm. We see a lot of this on social media. Your values become the social norm. Number 13, values can create or destroy. Your values can create or they can destroy. It's a choice. I try to follow the word of God instinctively without consideration. In other words, stop considering myself first. My personal traits that are not so positive don't qualify in my mind as core values because they are unnecessary in my decision-making process. They only get in the way of positive decision-making and leading effectively in God. I don't want negative personal traits in my decision-making. I hope you consider your own personal values and live in such a way that others are affected in a positive way. That when you leave, your values speak volumes. Hey, that's our show for today, folks. The clock on the wall says that's all. Be sure to join us again right here on Today's Man Podcast. I'm Pastor Malachi.